Hi everyone, my name is Derek Robinson, and I'm a senior online course developer here at InterSystems. In this video, we're going to be taking a look at how you can get started with InterSystems IRIS Cloud SQL. We'll do this by interviewing Raj Singh, one of our product managers. Raj will walk us through the screens and show us how to easily get started using InterSystems IRIS Cloud SQL.
All right, hi everybody and welcome. We're going to be talking about a brand new cloud service here today, and I'm joined by Raj Singh, the product manager for cloud and developer experience. Raj, how's it going?
Pretty good.
So today we're going to talk about InterSystems Iris Cloud SQL, as well as a little bit Cloud Integrated ML, which is a piece of Cloud SQL. So to get started here, tell us a little bit about this new cloud offering and what really it entails and why users should be excited about it.
So this is very exciting because InterSystems Iris, our data platform, has been one of the premier databases for multi-model development, very flexible and very sophisticated and powerful data-centric development for decades. And what we've done with our Cloud SQL cloud service is sort of package up the relational functionality, the SQL functionality, into a really easy to use piece, so that you don't have to learn the whole InterSystems Iris platform to get started quickly with one of our flagship pieces of the platform, which is the SQL relational engine. And that's why we have chosen to offer that via cloud services first.
Right, right. Nice. So it sounds like a nice low barrier way to take advantage of some of the most powerful features in the platform. So let's jump in if you don't mind, and let's take a look and kind of you can show us around and see how this service works for a new user.
Sure, it's really simple. So here I am on the InterSystems Cloud Services landing page.
Yep.
And right now I have one subscription here, InterSystems Iris Cloud SQL. We have other cloud services coming down the pipeline, and you can get InterSystems Iris itself as a managed service. But for today, we're going to focus on the Cloud SQL service.
Right.
So once you're here, you could create a deployment. Actually, what you'd do first, you would create an account. I already have an account, so it's more difficult to show you that, but obviously very simple, like any account creation.
Nice.
Now, creating this deployment here, right now there's only one service in my list, Cloud SQL, and I could add integrated ML to it if I wanted to.
Yep.
And choose the deployment size. Now, when you go through this, you'll definitely want to enable external connections. Otherwise, you won't be able to access this service from your desktop or from any other computer. It will only be limited to whatever subnet, either AWS or Azure, whichever cloud you pick, whichever subnet is there. Sometimes that might be useful if you want to do some inter-service communication just within that subnet and really lock it down for security purposes, but normally you'll want to enable external connections.
Right, right. Makes sense.
So you'd go in, not going to check any allowed IP address ranges. I just want to allow any IP address to connect to it. Okay, and I'll continue here. I'm just going to select AWS is the cloud provider we have available now. That is soon to expand. And give your deployment a name. I am not going to create this one because I already have one pre-created, but you see how quickly, in just about 30 seconds, I can generate a deployment. And then what I have going now is a full, relational database, just as you might sign up for Postgres on AWS or SQL Server on Azure. You can, quickly get a full SQL compliant database running in the cloud. So what we hope you'll find is that you'll get higher performance and a lower total cost of ownership from InterSystems Cloud SQL Service than you might with some other offerings,
Right.
as well as our excellent support. So now we have our database here, our deployment here. And I will just go into it, and you'll have very few options, which is a good thing because it's very lean and mean and easy to get started with.
Right.
There's some information that you'll need here to connect from a desktop. Now, one thing to realize about our service is that you can only make encrypted connections. We've locked it down so that for security purposes that you'll have to go through TLS. And I'm going to quickly show you how to set that up with one of the most popular desktop SQL clients, dbeaver.
Nice. Okay.
But you'll see here we've got a host name, port, user namespace, which is an InterSystem specific concept, but you can think of it as sort of a database, and username and password. And that's all you're going to need to connect. So first of all, before I do that, let me show you the easiest way to interact with this service, which is just through traditional SQL. You'll see here in my breadcrumb menu at the top, I have I'm connected to this deployment, which I just showed, and here's my SQL editor, a very basic thing. I can browse my schema tree over here, so I have just two little sample tables set up. I'm going to select star from care site. So you can just do some sanity checks on your data, make sure you can see tables and all, but that doesn't take you very far, right? You don't want this very bare bones SQL editor going on here. So I will start up dbeaver. So I have my connection here. Let me show you what it looks like. Actually, before I do the connection, let me show you how to establish this TLS connection.
Right.
So to set up TLS, I'm going to need to use this X509 certificate. And luckily, there's an article that our product manager for SQL has written here on our community site that tells me how to set this up. So I see here I need to download the X509 certificate. You can go through this in detail and import the certificate into the key store using this command.
Right.
So I am going to go over here, download the X509 certificate here. Now I already did this yesterday, so it's trying to give it a new name with a number 1, and I will cancel that because I'm just going to use the one I had yesterday. And follow these instructions to import it. So let me bring up my little terminal window here. So I know my file is here in downloads, and it's called certificate SQL AAS.pem.
Yep.
And I need to put it somewhere good. I think I'll just put it for example here, I will just leave it in my home directory users Raj Singh. So I'm going to type key tool minus import cert minus file. Path to this is like that. Minus key store. And I said I'd put it in my home directory, so I'm just going to go like that. JKS. And this is a little tricky. This is a new password that you're creating for the key store, not one that already exists. So don't go try to find it somewhere.
Right. Okay. Good to know.
Type that twice and trust this certificate. Yes, that's the whole point. And we just added it to the key store. So now I need to go and create a configuration file for dbeaver so that it knows where to find a certificate for this particular service.
Right, that makes sense.
So since I'm on a Macintosh, I know that I need to go in applications, dbeaver.app, contents, Mac OS. And this is the place where dbeaver will look for configuration files. So following that article again, you'll read that you need an SSL config.properties file, and The key things you need to put in that file are two lines: trust store equals path to the keystore.jks file and the password.
Right.
So I will go in here. I have a trust store. I will point it at my home directory and put in the password. And that's it. So dbeaver should be able to find that file.
Right. Cool.
So now I'm going to move over to dbeaver. And I've set up the connection here. Let's take a look at what I have here. So I have a InterSystems IRIS JDBC driver already installed. dbeaver is coming with it now. We've done the work to make sure they have a driver for our relational database.
Right.
And all we need to do then is connect to the right instance of it. We're going to connect by host. We need the host name and the port. Remember, we can get that over here from the overview page for that deployment. Scroll down, you'll find the host name and the port. And we also need the database/schema, and that's over here under namespace.
Right. Right.
So we put that in here, and username and password. So after you have your username and password in there, there's one more important setting to add, and it's over on the driver properties tab here of the connection. So scroll down in the driver properties list, find the connection security level, and in the value area, just type in 10 there.
Right. Okay.
Once that's all set, and you should be good to go.
Great. And that username and password is what you created when creating your deployment of Cloud SQL, correct?
Correct. Yep. And that username is right here too. We're using that. That doesn't change. That's set, but you can change the password.
Right. Cool.
And now if I expand this, it will go out and connect, and we'll see all the schemas that are available to us.
Great. Great.
So here's that SQL user schema I showed before.
Mm-hmm.
And those two tables we saw, care site and persons. And so now, if you're a dbeaver user, you can do all the things you're used to doing. You know, the exact same workflows used for any other database, but now you're using IRIS Cloud SQL.
Right. Right.
So everything you know about manipulating other SQL databases from within dbeaver apply here.
Right. Right. Nice. So those few steps get you to the point where you're using that, reliable and highly performant IRIS database with the processes and tools that you've been used to using with your SQL applications, right?
Mm-hmm.
Great. So thank you for that. That was a really nice quick overview of how to get started. So just before we wrap up here, what are any other notable features or other things that go beyond the basics that you might want to call out for people to learn more as they kind of dive in and get started with InterSystems IRIS Cloud SQL?
Yeah, so we didn't have time to talk about it this time, but maybe next time we'll dig into integrated ML. If I had checked that box, if you remember, I talked about it briefly. If I had checked that integrated ML box, you would have had access to our SQL-based integrated ML functionality, which we've extended SQL to allow you to do machine learning, training, scoring, all that you're used to, are right within a relational database, and which is really exciting stuff. Also, if you think about it, once you have a cloud service, endpoint for your data, for your relational data through standard JDBC or ODBC drivers, you can imagine easily integrating this within any of your existing data orchestration workflows. Now, I know a lot of you are probably beginning to do a lot more imperative scripting of your data work, and using tools like dbt or Airflow to create repeatable, data transformation workflows. This is a great way to, dip your toes in the water. Maybe you want to try out a new database. You could easily do a trial with InterSystems Cloud SQL because it's just, adding another JDBC or ODBC connection to the mix and just updating a script. So, and we hope you really find that you love the performance and the ease
Yeah.
of use that we have there.
Yeah,
So yeah, and a
absolutely.
lot of these workflow orchestration tools are hosted on the cloud anyway.
Hmm. Right.
So, this is absolutely, no change in what you'd normally do to hooking up to any other database.
Right, right. Exactly. Fits right into the picture. So
Hmm.
that's great info. And linked alongside this video, we'll have information to follow up and try it out yourself. And as you mentioned, Raj, I believe you said it was a trial credit that you get for beginning and trying a deployment of Cloud SQL. Is that right?
Yeah, yeah.
Great.
Throw some tough data sizes at us or some
Yeah,
complicated data sets. I think you'll be pleased at what you find.
great. Well, awesome. Raj, thanks so much for the walkthrough, and we'll have to circle back with you to look at some of the other features as people start adopting the service. So thanks again.
Okay, great. Looking forward to it.